So I'm trying to get some live at bats set up with deets, where I would basically same thing I do in the off season, like throw to hitters in a cage or on a field or whatever, and so they get some live batting practice, and I get to face hitters and whatnot because we don't know when the season's going to start. So, and we're going to have limited spring training, and so I think it's more important to do that now. But last time we tried to get something live-ish together was our wiffle ball game.
Yeah.
And
well, it wasn't gonna be a wiffle ball game to start.
Well, yeah, it was supposed to be just a sandlot game. That's how the idea started, where you just show up to a field and
just play,
strap it on and play. But you actually got a call from the
union?
From the union,
who got it
through the.
Yeah, the commissioner called the union. They got word of the sandlot game pretty quickly. I think you're on their radar.
I'm definitely on their radar.
Anything you do, I think they have like the notification turned on.
That's pretty tight. MLB has notifications turned on
when
at Bauer outage.
Bauer outage tweets, they're notified. Yeah.
I've made it. That's great.
Everyone's dream. Yeah. So yeah, they got word of the sandlot game very quickly, and very quickly called the union. And their first and only words really were that if you guys played a baseball game, you would be in violation of your contract. So that pretty much ended any chance.
But why is that the case? Because people play baseball games all the time. I mean, they have the Japan series where the MLB All-Stars go over and they play in Japan. People play winter ball all the time. We play, basically, we have live at-bats at Driveline. So what about this would make it any different than...
Because, so in your contract and the agreement that the players have with MLB, you cannot play during season in any unsanctioned baseball game.
Is that the individual player contract, or is that the collective bargaining agreement?
So it's the UPC, which would be the uniform player contract, right? Yeah. So everyone pretty much has standard. The language in most contracts are pretty standard across the board. And then there's certain covenants, right, that you can negotiate in, and different players, when you become a free agent too, you negotiate in different things, but there's only a select amount of things you can basically negotiate.
Right, and what are some examples of some of those things that you can negotiate in?
I mean, first of all, the standard guarantee language, you can negotiate that in. You also have different things such as, kind of perks, right? Suite on the road, getting a suite.
Okay. Certain amount of travel for your family,
right?
Perhaps. Or,
right.
Yeah.
So there's a limited amount of things that you can negotiate in. Other than that, you have uniform language in the contract. So you're also not allowed to participate during season in any other sport, and it actually has listed out the sports.
And those sports are listed in the UPC.
Well, it's correct. It's in your contract.
Right. It's in everyone's contract, though, right? Or just free agents? Or...
Right. Yeah, it's in everyone's contract.
Okay.
So you can't. I think there's boxing, wrestling.
Yeah, I think
skydiving.
I was reading it one time, and spelunking is in there. Yeah. Field hockey, ping pong is in there. Yeah. Like all sorts of crazy.
You know what's not in there?
Bull riding.
Droning
is not. It probably is
Yet.
in mine. Yeah, it probably will be in mine.
Yet, but bull riding. I don't think it's in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you violated that, right, and you got, if you violated, they could void your contract. Also, if you get hurt, right, doing something that is not considered baseball, and during the course of your training for baseball, then they can technically void your contract. And I think that actually happened. The scenario came up where the team could void their contract with Bumgarner, right? When he got hurt, remember on that off day, was it one season?
Or
yeah, it was
something like that?
Not last season, or one, I don't know, one of these last recent seasons. But I guess it just didn't make sense. Obviously, the Giants didn't void his contract, but they could have if they wanted to, and then he would become a free agent. Yeah. Okay. So obviously they decided not to void it. But if you got hurt doing something other than baseball, wiffle ball would have been considered something other than baseball.
But baseball wouldn't have been considered something other than baseball, right?
Right, but you can't play. They were going to consider that or argue that it was a sanctioned league, and you can't play baseball in some other sanctioned league or outside of just for your team during the season. And
But because the season had been postponed, it technically wasn't during the season, though, right? So
it's during. I mean, you could make that argument that the season was postponed, that this would be considered something like the off season, right? It's this weird gray area, and I definitely, I think, voiced that side to the union, that I think there was an argument we could make. I'm not sure we had the strongest argument.
Right.
But given the circumstances, there was definitely an argument to be made about it. But it just seemed easier at this point, given the fact that a lot of other players were going to feel uncomfortable about it, right? When you have the commissioner saying, you are in violation of your contract if you play, that terrifies a lot of players. And so the chances that we got enough guys to come out, not everyone's as wanting to take risks like you, right? So the chance that we got people to come out and play, guys to come out and play, was slim. So changing it to wiffle ball helped, right? Because now it's not baseball.
Yeah, so that helps on the non-sanctioned part. So how do you get to be a sanctioned game? So I guess the Japan series would be sanctioned by the commissioner himself.
Correct.
So he has the authority to sanction it.
Yeah.
And same thing with a winter ball.
Yeah. So winter ball is a sanctioned league.
Or
and
exhibition
it's also,
games that they do, like they do every spring training, game or a couple games in Las Vegas.
Right.
And those are sanctioned by the commissioner. So making it wiffle ball meant that it was no longer under that, subject to that clause, because it's not baseball.
It's not baseball. So when we switched it, and I was like, okay, well, listen, we're not playing baseball, so we're fine. Then we had to also make it clear, though, to the players that if they got hurt doing this, they could also have their contracts voided by their club because they got hurt doing something other than baseball, right?
Okay, yeah, because now since it's wiffle ball, it's now technically not baseball. Jeez. All to play some fun, just get guys together and do some.
Yeah. Luckily, we had no injuries, right? It all went well.
No, everything was fine. I mean, obviously it was going to be fine. Guys aren't dumb. They just go out there and hang out and have a good time. They're not,
Right. But you could have a freak accident that happens, and you're jeopardizing potentially millions of dollars.
Yeah, I guess legally you would be, right?
Yeah.
Although some people would be happy to become free agents, right? Because they're probably underpaid in their contracts.
Yeah. What a way to try to get your contract voided.
Well, I feel like that's why the team would not.
Well, I mean, look,
void, because if they have,
they don't have right. So that's the difference between language that voided and voidable, right? Because there are certain things, and I can't think of one right off the top of my head, at least for baseball, but where under a contract, there's language that says if you do this, the contract is voided. So even the party that would seek to benefit from that, if they want it, like should they choose to use, to void it, even under circumstances where they don't even want to void it, there's language in contracts that says the contract's voided if you do something. It doesn't matter.
In baseball specifics, that would give the player a way to become a free agent.
Sure, if it was voided, but it's voidable,
which gives all the power to the team.
They have the option now.
And then to the player.
Right. So now when you do the action that creates the contract to now be voidable, that puts the onus on the club to either decide, do I want to void it or not? But now they have the option.
Are there things that a club could do where a player could void a contract, or is it all stacked in? I mean, I'm sure there's got to be something about, they pay on certain dates, but if they don't pay on those dates, is it voidable per the player?
I'd have to go back through. I can't think of anything off the top of my head where it would be. I feel like there's got to be a scenario, though, where it would be voidable.
Because pretty much all the contracts are stacked in the team or the
Yeah.
league's favor.
Right. In terms of just their ability to control what you do and, on and off the field.
Yeah.
And what you participate in,
So now, are those... So that language where it says you can't ping pong, you can't spelunk, you can't... Whatever it specifies. Is that for the life of the contract, or is it just in season? Because we're in a weird situation now where it's technically not in season, but it's not...
It's postponed, though. The season's postponed.
So does that mean that season is this classified as season right now?
So you can't, right, during season, you can't go play somewhere else. Right. You can't go play for the Mexican League or in Japan. Right. Technically, let's say that the, NPB was going on right now and they were having games. If you went over there, you would violate your contract. But...
so why would I violate it? Is it just because I have signed it for
because
this season
you're
already?
Technically, just because it's postponed doesn't mean that you're out of your contract. You're still under contract. It's just postponed, which means that they're not obligated right now to pay you.
Right. Okay.
But you still have to abide by the agreements that you've made under the contract. It's a weird scenario too, though, because you're not getting paid.
Right.
It'd be one thing if they were just right. So you're still not getting paid.
So I'm subject to the terms of the contract on the limitations of what I can go do, but I'm not subject to the terms of the contract as far as getting payment. So they basically just...
Because they're
holding the rights to me basically right now until such time that the season starts, or...
Because they're allowed to,
right?
because it's postponed because of a national emergency, right?
So what happens if the season is then canceled completely? Does that then... Because now my contract that I signed for the 2020 season has to be, I guess, renegotiated, right, for 2021, because it only covered the... It didn't say the next season. It just said the 2020 season.
Right. You only signed a contract for this season.
Right.
Your contract, though, so the way that they can postpone the season because of a national emergency.
Okay.
When it's no longer a national emergency, when that happens, now if that doesn't happen till December, then they're fine. I mean, look, this is what happened. But let's say it's no longer a national emergency in May, or no, let's say August, and they decide to cancel the season though.
Yeah.
And technically you could still play. I don't know what would happen. I think they're still figuring that out because...
That's probably... That language, though, that argument is going to be based on not an individual player's contract. It's going to be based on the collective bargaining agreement, right?
Yeah.
So that'll go on between the league and the union on
most
behalf
of this stuff, yeah.
all the players.
Almost everything that's going on right now is, agents don't really have much that they can do. It's all being negotiated by the union and MLB.
Yeah. Interesting. So I guess at that point, only people that have not yet signed a contract for this year, so free agents like, I'm just thinking of people who haven't signed this year already. Puig would be a good example, right? So he could go play somewhere else because he's not under contract. Yeah. But anybody who had signed a long-term deal was in the arbitration system or had signed a free agent deal is just kind of in a holding pattern.
Yeah.
They can't really go work somewhere else until a decision is made on this stuff. That's interesting. So many legal hoops to jump through just to play a game of wiffle ball. It wasn't even a full game. You played over the line.
Did you guys, though? I feel you kind of played.
Huh?
I feel you kind of played a full...
I mean, kind of, but there was no...
It wasn't fully over the line.
It was kind of a hybrid-ish.
Yeah.
thing. But
I mean, look,
but there was no running the bases. There was no throwing the bases. We only had defenders on half the field.
I feel like Dietrich ran some bases.
Yeah,
He might have been the only
and Benny
one.
the
though.
Jet ran. There's a couple people that jogged it out to first, but
No.
thankfully like no one
got hurt.
No one got hurt, so no contracts were voided. But it's just crazy. Oh, that's the other part of it too. I called Manfred.
Oh yeah, he didn't answer.
Yeah, he didn't answer. I called him to clear it and make sure that this was okay. You know, my buddy Rob, and
Rob wasn't too happy.
He had given me his card and said, you know, I'm good.
He gave you a fake number, maybe.
He might have given. If Rob Manfred gave me a fake number and I actually called it, that would be the biggest troll of all time. That would be.
Not many people troll you.
I would have to respect that, right? I would have to have like a newfound respect for Rob Manfred if he trolled me with a fake number. But I don't think so because he gave me his MLB card and it had his email and stuff on there, and he said he was good at getting back to emails and phone calls. But now it's
But he never got back to that.
2 weeks later, and I still haven't heard back from him.
He ghosted you.
He definitely ghosted me. Wow.
Trevor Bauer, ghosted by Rob Manfred.
Yeah, YouTube video title. Rob Manfred ghosts Trevor Bauer. MLB agent reacts.
There you go.
Yeah, it's going to go viral. Heard it here first.
Yeah.
All right, see you guys next time.
See ya.